the greeting that we use is Jai Bhagwan. Jai Bhagwan. So try it. Jai Bhagwan. And it means victory to the spirit. So Jai Bhagwan. Jai Bhagwan. All right. So this evening, you get a special treat. You are going to meet Yogi Amrit Desai, who some of you have met before, some of you have not met before. So what I wanted to do was just give you a little bit of an introduction to him, a little bit of an introduction to the protocol and how things go so that you don't feel weirded out, that you know, have a general idea about how things go. And then after he leaves, he'll be here for about an hour. We'll take a little stretch break, and then we're going to go over details and housekeeping and orientation to kind of get you settled in. So we'll be done by around just before 9 o'clock. We'll be able to send you off to bed, okay? So first of all, just a little bit about Yoga Nidra before we go on to Yogi Desai. You made the right choice to come here for this, right? I think we all know that meditation is good for us, but how many of us, I'll conclude myself in there, have had trouble, you know, sitting and then the knees and then the back and then the thoughts, and it's like, oh my God, where's the meditation? And what I love about Yoga Nidra, these sages of ancient yoga were brilliant, and they recognize that every night when we fall asleep, we naturally disengage from our thoughts, that there's a time that we biologically, automatically, and naturally, our thoughts move further away from us. And so what they said was, well, what if we use this biological process for the spiritual purpose of meditation? What if we went into sleep-like states where thoughts naturally move away from us, your body already knows how to do it, and we used it to be in meditation? Right? So that, in a nutshell, is what Yoga Nidra is. It's entering into a conscious sleep state where your body already knows how to meditate, because it does it every night. The only difference is we then fall asleep, okay? So there's a certain level of conscious, and we'll understand what that is tomorrow, right? The second thing that I'll say about Yoga Nidra, besides that it's easy, the easiest form of meditation you will probably ever do, it will also take you to profound states of meditation. For those of you who even have done seated meditation for years, you may find that it takes you even deeper than you've ever gone before. So it's a very, very profound practice. And the third thing that I will say about it is that it has a unique aspect to it, and that there's no other meditation technique that I know of that doesn't just go to these subtle realms of consciousness, but allows you to make shifts from those places. Right? Usually we go into meditation and we rest there, but we then don't make mold. It's like we're going into a state where everything is like clay instead of ice. And in those states where your whole consciousness is like clay, it's very moldable, it's shiftable. You can make changes there quite easily. That's what we do with the use of intention. So it's meditation on steroids, right? For a lot of different reasons. And so our intent for you, whether you're here for the immersion or the certification or both, is for you to leave with a really solid grounding in what Yoga Nidra is, a Yoga Nidra practice for yourself, and an appreciation of how deep and profound a practice it truly is. All right? And one of the things one of the reasons that I say that you're in the right place is because there are more and more Yoga Nidras coming up. And what I find a shame is that in many traditions, or many people don't have a tradition, and so that they don't really know the depth of what Yoga Nidra is about, and therefore they can't communicate the depth of what Yoga Nidra is about. And through these 5 days or 10 days, you are going to appreciate how much there is to Yoga Nidra, actually, that you may never have even had a clue about. And part of where that comes from is to have a lineage of masters that have passed down this knowledge for hundreds and even thousands of years, from guru to disciple, from master to student, so that these deep, deep teachings were never lost. And so tonight, when you meet Yogi Desai, you are going to meet someone who learned from his teacher, Bapuji, and who learned from his teacher, Dadaji, right? And so these ancient secrets actually were passed down and passed down and passed down, and that is what you get to receive, right? So for me, if I want to go study somewhere, I want to hear it from the source. I want to get it from the person who learned it from the person who got it from the source. And that's what you're going to receive tonight, okay? So just a little bit about Yogi Desai. He's also known as Gurudev. Gurudev means beloved teacher. And, you know, we call him Gurudev because we often have so much affection, and I'm sure you have this, for your first yoga teacher or the person who was your first mentor, for the person who put you on the path and who opened your heart or who opened your eyes. There's always that affection there. And that's why we call Gurudev Gurudev, because we have affection in our community for the person who puts us on the path, right? So when we come in, when he comes into the room, there are a few things that we do to kind of open ourselves up and sort of empty the mind from everything that's come before so that we can fully receive and be present to the teachings. One of them is that we have a series of rituals that help us know this is different from everything else. This is not the same as watching TV. This is not the same as like a regular lecture. This is actually an experience, right? And the experience is not just here, it's actually happening here in your whole body. So in order to set the stage, the first thing that we do is when he comes into the room, we all stand. And I think that you're going to notice that the moment he walks into a room, he carries a presence, right? So when he speaks, don't just listen from the mind, but feel that presence, because that presence can actually shift you and make transformations in you so that you start to vibrate at his frequency, okay? The second thing is that when he comes forward, to the degree that you're comfortable, but he will bow to his masters from whom he learned. And it's a way of him surrendering his ego and saying, hey, I'm the eternal student. And we all participate in that as well, but you don't have to if you don't feel comfortable. But the meaning of bowing is to place the head below the heart. So when you're bowing, it's the heart that rules, okay? And in your folder, if you have your folder, pull out the second to the last page on the right side. I think I got it right. It should say Amrit Yoga Institute Prayers and Chants. Oh, it's the very first one on the left side. My bad. Okay. So when he goes down and we all kneel, he is going to say, see where it says pranams to the masters of lineage? Pranams means to bow. So he will say, Bolo Shri Satguru. Bolo Shri Satguru means celebrations to the highest guru, which is the guru within. Satguru means the guru within you, okay? The teacher within you. And we will all say, Deva Ki Jai, which means right on, okay? And then he'll say, Bolo Shri Shri Krishna Chandra. And this is the form of the divine, the formless, okay? So the divine appears, like you can't see the divine, and then it appears in forms, in the things that you see. So the formless aspect of the divine, he'll say, celebrations to the formless aspect of the divine. And we'll say, Bhagavana Ki Jai, salutations to that Lord. And then we all say together, Om Namaha Parvatipate Hara Hara Mahadev. And we say, I bow to all the forms of the divine. And then Hara Hara Mahadev, as it transforms me. I celebrate as it transforms me. So it's quite beautiful, right? If you feel uncomfortable, don't worry, nobody's looking. So just stay up, okay? Really, I want you to be comfortable here. Then he's going to take the harmonium and he's going to chant, all right? And I'm sure he's going to explain the meaning of this prayer, but this is actually tomorrow when we go over the history of Yoga Nidra, you will see that this particular prayer that we are using is actually the first linchpin, the first theoretical basis of the history of Yoga Nidra, okay? So it has a lot of meaning for us. And this, see where it says prayer of intention before yoga practice? So we're going to do a dry run before he comes, or maybe not, because I already see him walking over, okay? So we're just going to fake it. But you can use this piece of paper when he comes in, all right? So let's stand.
Go through the parted ocean, it should come back together. Are you all ready to get started? You know what that requires? Just expecting nothing, empty mind. Then you are ready. If you have expecting mind, full of expectations, it just doesn't receive quite clearly. So just enjoy next moment. We'll begin with the prayers, probably you were told, right? So if you do not know the prayers, just simply Close your eyes, because I'll guide you into meditation later on. Can you speak up a little bit? May close your eyes. Internalize your awareness. And when you internalize, the externalized ego mind stops doing anything. Means relaxation naturally follows. Stillness comes all over you, just naturally. And you feel more peaceful. Mind becomes quiet. Body becomes relaxed. And your heart opens up. And join with me in chanting the Om. Take a breath in. Again, breathe in. Again. Shanti, You may now gradually open your eyes. This prayers that we just chanted is to open the passage to know where you are going with this practice of Yoga Nidra. That's what it sets the tone for where you want to go. It's like the mission statement the companies have. This is like a mission statement of what you are about to practice. Where are you going with what you are doing? It explains, the first line explains, lead me from unreality to reality. That's the purpose of this practice. Through the mind, you cannot see the reality. You can only see what you have learned in the past. Mind cannot see anything outside of what you have personally perceived, experienced, interpreted, and stored in your memory. That's mind. It's like a computer. And it can only see what you have personally perceived and converted into your personal experience in the manner in which you interpreted what you experienced. Your experience is a manifestation of your own interpretation of what you experience. You never experience the way it happened. You experience it the way you interpret it. Clear so far? That's a problem. That's the only problem. That's why it is called unreality. It cannot see what is there. So, as you enter to learn Yoga Nidra, first thing understand, don't trust your mind. And you need your mind for functional purposes, into operating in the external world of reality, of time and space dimension. You can't do without it. But if you want to interpret what somebody is telling you, or what is happening, or who somebody else is, or who you are, don't depend on it. It is all mixed up about it. It sees everything through the unreality of misperceived experiences and therefore interpretations. So everything that you feel that, like in your life, that is acting as a physical block, energy block, mental block, emotional block, is all creation of how you perceive reality. Misperceived reality lives in your body, in the memory body. And then it comes out through your reactive perception. You can, in other words, everything that you see, you cannot see what is as is. You react to it through what you know about it, as you have known in the past. not as it is in the present. Therefore, mind operates in unreality. So this Yoga Nidra is going to be a very fascinating course. It will allow you to move in the dimension that most people have never gone there. And it allows you to do the things that you could not achieve by working hard and trying to change your old habits. And they have such a grip that even when you want to get rid of it, they just take over. You may succeed for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, again it's back, takes over. So those self-destructive habit patterns and compulsive behavior patterns is what is through which you experience your life. So then there is no life, because behavior patterns are so heavily regulated by your past. So most human beings operate in such a small sleeve out of 360-degree perceptions and experiences. And that's why it is so miserable. Life is meant to be a dance, a celebration. Instead, it has turned into a chore, hard work. And that's all. We're just working hard to get somewhere, and we never arrive. I mean, what good is the hard work when you can't get what you want at the end of it? So mind works into trying to get you involved into doing the things that will not work eventually. It can get you external things that will work anytime. But it will not get you to change your bad habits. So no matter how much you change outside, your bad habits will not allow you to enjoy what you have. Bad habits create a lot of mental and emotional agitations about everything, not just something, everything. That's what you want to get rid of through the practice of Yoga Nidra. If you cannot get rid of it, your life will be the same as it has always been. If you like it, you don't need to attend Yoga Nidra. Keep it. But I know everybody is trying to feel better. That means they are trying to get rid of it, but they don't know it is about it. So it is because you don't have a life. Your habits got it. It runs your life, it runs your mind, it runs all your interactions with your loved ones, with your parents, with your children, with your friends, with your workers, everywhere. So if you are stressed and in conflict, you create stress and conflict no matter where you go. That's what we are talking about, Yoga Nidra. Lead me from unreality to reality. That's what Yoga Nidra is about. Then second line says, Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, lead me from darkness to light. Do you know these prayers are more than 6,000 years old? It looks like some psychiatrist made it. Darkness to light. But yogis knew the secret of what is the cause of human suffering. Human suffering is living in the darkness of memories of the past. And they cannot see the reality through the light of consciousness that they are. So, to move from darkness is everything that you know about the world and yourself through the medium of the mind. There is nothing that you know has a reality. Do you know how that works? Because you will see that each person experiences the same experience differently. 10 people witness the same experience, everybody has a different experience. Why? Because each one has learned to process it differently in their past. Therefore, same experience, different experiences. Same event, different experiences. Do you understand that? Now you understand why I'm telling about mind. So, and then the third line says, Tam mrityorma amritam gamaya. Lead me from time-bound ego-mind consciousness to timeless being that I am. I don't think psychiatrists know anything about that. It is never taught there. It is taught about how to manage the mind, with the past. So it is a totally different dimension you are learning to go into. So human beings are born familiar with three dimensions. One is waking, where we are now. You are in a waking state. I am in a waking state. What you experience during the waking hours is the one state which we're talking about, mind, through which we perceive. And you do not, even though you perceive through the five senses, the external world is perceived through five senses: sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. Five senses. But you don't receive it through the five senses. Have you noticed the same perfume that you like, other person say, "Who that passed by? Oh my God, that stinks." In a store you can fail that, right? Once in a while somebody might say, "Why would they use this perfume?" So you are not smelling the same smell. You are programmed to smell it that way. That doesn't mean other is wrong and you are right. You are programmed to experience it differently than that person is. That person is right because they have become familiar to that and they have learned to like it and they have practiced it. Means your mind is personalized perception of everything. And it is always in conflict with impersonal reality. Reality is impersonal. Did you know that? Did you know? Reality is impersonal. Means if you are experiencing reality, then you will not think about it is for me or against me. Reality means that's the way it is right now. So reality, from the point of view that I explained to you, that each mind is pre-programmed personally by each person, and that's a medium through which they see people, places, things, interpret them, and process them in the way they are used to, not the way it is real. Do you get it now? That's not real. That's why you have a conflict with other people. They are seeing it one way, you see another way. So this is the last line, says how to enter into the reality. And reality has no beginning, no end. Reality, if you want to say God has no beginning and no end. That's why we call the God that is inborn within us, the soul that is inborn within us, is eternal. So mind is temporary. Has anybody experienced that? Your thoughts are temporary. Have you seen your mind go, I like it, and then after 2 minutes, I hate it? You got married to somebody you like, after 2 years you say, I don't know who I got married to. Mind, talking, back and forth. So it is the mind through which we perceive this world, but mind is without mind you cannot live. But with mind you cannot survive and be healthy. Because mind will create so many conflicts with reality that you face, the people, places and things. So that part says, lead me from time-bound ego mind to timeless being that I am. So what is that dimension? So many people have conceptual God. With the practice of meditation-based yoga nidra, you can go so deep to the subtlest level of your being where you can reconnect with your soul. And if you can go to that dimension, you have connection to the infinite source of power, energy, information, everything that you want, you can really get it. Because now you have entered the domain of consciousness, the divine that is within us. How do you like so far? Does it make sense? So if you have been knowing about it philosophically, you'll find out about it experientially. That's the difference. So this Yoga Nidra will give you an amazing gift, like something that you are not able to access, the grace of the divine that is already always present. We talk about it, we go to church, we go to synagogue, we go to temples, but we don't find it. Why? Because yoga says, and Yoga Nidra says, it lives within you. So this is the method of learning to connect with that divine within you. And when you go there, you have, with the grace, with the light of consciousness, you can eliminate any of the bad habits or some health-related problems. They can be very easily eroded and released, and you can let go. That's the idea of Yoga Nidra. Like if you are, so Yoga Nidra could be applied in many, many different ways. If you have insomnia, you can use it to learn how to fall asleep naturally. If you have a heart condition, you can learn how to relax. If you are obese, you can reduce stress and you will reduce the weight naturally without doing much. But you have to learn how to reduce the stress, because that is related. So Yoga Nidra means when you go into the domain of grace, you can change so many things. I would change my words. Not you, but the divine that dwells within you can change many things that you cannot change. So if I ask you a question, how many of you have some habits that you're trying to get rid of, or eating wrong foods, or not exercising, or not be loving instead angry, and you can't do anything, it just takes over? How many of you have experienced that? May I see hands? Thank you. I like to be in your company. Because we all have that in some part of our life. We are out of control. So this gives you back your life that has been taken away by your self-destructive habit patterns and compulsive behavior patterns. So what is Yoga Nidra? Get out of your own way. But you who has been in your own way cannot help yourself to get out of your own way. You have to go to another dimension, higher dimension. You cannot solve the problem by the same consciousness that created it. You have to go to another level of consciousness. That is Yoga Nidra. So today I'll give you some idea about why do we call it Yoga Nidra. It is called yogic sleep. So it has a sleep that is, you all know sleep, right? But you do not know yogic sleep. You know how to practice postures, but you do not know yoga postures. You know breathing exercises, but you do not know pranayam. There is a big difference. So whatever you do, you can bring yoga into it. And whatever you do, you can bring ego into it also. So we are so used to do everything we do with ego, and no matter what you do, whenever you are the doer, the ego is the doer. This Yoga Nidra is how to go beyond the doer into non-doing power of presence that doesn't do things to get rid of it. It's light of consciousness, the divine presence that removes the darkness. That is, that light of consciousness that removes the darkness without fight or flight reaction to the shadow. But if you bring your ego mind to the shadow, it will start fighting it. That means your habits are shadow. And if you try to fight it, to change it, you won't be able to do it. Therefore, Yoga Nidra is not about fighting with that which is holding you back, making you unhealthy, destroying your relationships, making you miserable. No matter what we do, once we are victim of those habits, we create nuisance no matter what we do. We try to solve it and we create problems. So these are so you are on a journey to something miraculous. But that lives in you. It just Yoga Nidra gives you the method, technique of how to go there. And how to go there, you can do just by buying a CD, you can go there. Many people go there by reading. But that's not the purpose of this training. Otherwise, $12 is enough. But why would you take so much time and energy and money to study? Because you will learn how to not only just go there, but also how to learn to be there in your waking hours also, more and more. If you can enter there during the Yoga Nidra, in this course you will learn how to enter that consciously and remain in a harmonious co-creative interaction with life situations and relationships. That's a big. So this Yoga Nidra that you are learning is not just about going into yogic sleep. It's also learning secrets of life that are built into it so you can live with it in your daily life as well. That's a difference. So they call it Yoga Nidra because there are 3 states in which average human being goes naturally. So first is waking state, second is dream state, and third is deep sleep state. You have all gone through that, right? Everybody has gone through that. You have learned, you know what happens when you are dreaming. And you know what happens when you are waking. You don't know what happens when you are in deep sleep. And you do not enter the deeps in the sleep by doing something that in order to sleep you have to do certain things to fall asleep. No. You just create appropriate conditions, like you make your bed, you turn off your light, you lie down, and then if you try to sleep, you'll be awake. So if you don't try to sleep, you'll fall asleep. So that is the same thing with Yoga Nidra, with meditation. If you try to meditate, you'll never enter it. You will suffer from meditation insomnia. You'll never get into it. Because you are trying, because it's a domain of non-doing. And if you do anything, then you will not be able to enter it. So it is not the dimension in which ego can help you to enter. It cannot, your mind cannot help you to enter that. It can, though, create right conditions so you can enter. So those creating right conditions is called Yoga Nidra technique, meditation technique. So techniques create, so that is why all meditation technique, everything you know about meditation, different people talk about it, it's a meditation technique. Nobody can tell you what meditation is. You have to get into it for you to experience it, because it was the experience of being in meditation rather than doing meditation. Do you understand? So this is also Yoga Nidra, takes you into being experience rather than doing experience. Even though techniques of doing are there, just like for meditation, there are meditation techniques. There are several different techniques, many techniques to enter into it. And there are many ways you can enter Yoga Nidra as well. So this is different than meditation. And it is same as meditation. That combination is so unique. Because when you meditate, you see, you ask for nothing. Do you know the difference between meditation and prayer? In prayer, you ask God what you want. I don't know if anybody ever got what they wanted, but they pray anyway. And call it prayer even. That's the strangest thing. Because everything that you desire is a prayer. And you're not getting it. Why? Because you're not following the technique of how to enter into that state from where the prayer is arising and reaching to the divine. So that is why with this program you would learn what God is, really. And I think I'll provide you email, telephone number, and address of God. It will be faster than that, because it is in you. So how to connect with that divine, and which is very similar to sleep, but it's very completely beyond the sleep at the same time. So let's see what happens in sleep. In sleep, do you remember? Do you know anything? You don't know anything about what happens in sleep. You just disappear from this planet completely. Nobody is there. You don't have your past, you don't know your name, you don't know your husband, your children, somebody who your baby was born or somebody died, nothing. Thank God that is built into us. Otherwise, people will kill themselves by the age 10, 15, 20, 30. Because sleep is what is very complementary to waking state. In waking state, we create so much mental and emotional turmoils in our life. Stress, conflicts. And then, in sleep, you restore balance. That's it. And in sleep, you restore balance. But then, all the things of your past and future, everything disappears while you are asleep. Mind disappears. Mind that operates in the dimension of time, past and future, also disappears. Your relationship, everything disappears. That's a great relief from mind. I told you, mind is a nuisance. That's why God knew that ahead of time, so He said, okay, let me build it. The sleep for these guys who are not going to rest at all, particularly for America. And then Americans created so much nuisance in life, in the Western countries, everywhere. that they cannot sleep. They say that there is more people taking sleeping medication than any other medication, perhaps the highest. That shows that our mind is not working for us, and we have abused our mind by being excessively active without giving the balancing relaxation. So this Yoga Nidra will give you not just relaxation. Like sleep is not a relaxation. Sleep is like drops you into zero stress zone where you, who is doing anything that creates tension, who is thinking about the past or future, everything disappears. So can you imagine the level of stress reduction? Completely zero. You drop into it in sleep. So that's why it is so rejuvenating. In sleep you do nothing to get refreshed, and you wake up and it's refreshing. What happened? You went below the ego mind into the sleep. And in the sleep you release some of the tensions, unsuppressed. But this Yoga Nidra, meditation-based Amrit Yoga Nidra, that is different. It is not just the relaxation. Quite often people practice Yoga Nidra as relaxation. It is relaxation, but it doesn't say everything it does. It is so much more than relaxation. It takes you back to the source in you. Do you see? All the way to the complete oneness. When there is tension, there is conflict between the two. When two disappears, relaxation appears. Oneness appears. God appears. Divine appears. So this is the process of returning back to the source of oneness that dwells within you. And you cannot go to oneness. You cannot be relaxed like that without meditation or Yoga Nidra or such meditation-related techniques. So you can try, people try that, you see, people try to go beyond the mind. What do? They take tranquilizers. Or they can take LSD. Or they can take some drugs. But, do you see, there is a side effect. It destroys your mind, your body, your heart. Or it is a very, very, very bad side effects. So this Yoga Nidra is activating the bliss, that is, it is connection to the bliss being that you are, which is more than happiness. Happiness has always unhappiness before that. Otherwise you won't experience happiness. Did you know that? It's a relative experience. This is going beyond relativity. So this Yoga Nidra will allow you to enter into the state where you activate your biological pharmacy that produces melatonin and serotonin and dopamine, all those hormones that make you feel high, not excited, but deeply relaxed and peaceful. And people who have practiced, and there are people who had been here with me in several cases, where people were so bad that they were depressed, full of anxiety. They were taking so many different kinds of drugs for heart conditions, sleep, and many different kinds of drugs. And as they promised when they sold it, that you may think of committing suicide. And people came to me. They said, I have this condition. And they started practicing Yoga Nidra, and they came to Yoga Nidra training. They came to Amrit Yoga training. What happened? Without drugs, through the practice of yoga and Yoga Nidra, they started relaxing naturally from the pharmacy in their own body. It produces bliss hormones, happy hormones. So when they felt that So as they became more and more relaxed, they didn't have to take the medication for relaxation. And eventually they dropped all medication, and that desire for committing suicide, depression, anxiety, everything disappeared with it. So you can count on it. But you have to practice it. You have to learn it fully so that you can be a greatest helper to save somebody's life if you learn this properly and help many people you will come across who need this so badly. You could be the greatest of all the helpers. Save somebody's life. Save somebody from anxiety and depression. How big that is. There are not too many techniques that do that without side effects. Now I shouldn't say that. It has a very good side effects. So there is miracles that can happen as you learn. You will also learn the secrets of life. It's not just you'll be going to just sleep. You will just going to do yoga nidra. You will be doing that many times, and you will go and you will experience what I'm saying yourself. But you will also learn the philosophy of ancient teachings that help you to move from unreality to reality, from the mind to the divine presence. That will change your entire life and every relationship that you have had in the past. You won't have to forgive them. It'll go away. Conflict will disappear because it lives in your memory and you can release that. How big that is. Ruins people's lives. And those kind of big things that are just in your way to freedom of life can be released very quickly and very effectively. And then you can do it. All you have to do is just lie down and go inside and read the teachings over and over so you can practice when you wake up also the understanding that comes. So with that, I'll let you ask questions. We have 20 minutes or so to ask questions. Yes?
Jai Gurudev. Has everyone here practiced Yoga Nidra at all?
How many of you have practiced Yoga Nidra? May I see hands? Yes, they're all here.
Okay, so so I do too every night, particularly healing and rejuvenation. And I've discovered that Yoga Nidra takes you into places that are so deep and profound that in the waking state, at least I'm able to see what is real through experiences sometimes, not all the time. But the mind can go, I can go where the mind would rather not have me go. One of the experiences I had very recently is I just had my thyroid removed, and I took my Yoga Nidra to the hospital with me and did that right after surgery and for 4 days following. And on the fourth night, I woke up in the middle of the night to this horrible smell in my room. And I realized with every exhalation, I was exhaling anesthesia. And that went on for a couple hours, and that was profound in itself.
You see, when you go into that state, detoxification process automatically happens. So your body is releasing all that is foreign to it, naturally.
Yeah. And I told the Ralpher about that, and he said he and his wife had been doing Yoga Nidra with some doctors, nurses, etc., that are in and out of the operating rooms. And he said in the middle of the Yoga Nidra, a cloud formed in the room, and they could smell anesthesia. And they realized it was pouring from the medical staff because they had all been in operating rooms. And he said it was remarkable. Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah, that's really amazing. And again, while I was in the hospital, I had, and again, after I'd done Yoga Nidra, the most amazing healing experience. It would have seemed bizarre if I had never done Yoga Nidra, but it's no longer bizarre. It's just amazing. So life becomes magical when you do Yoga Nidra. It does.
That's
Thank you.
beautiful. So how is it? Has it been magical for you?
Oh, I can't even tell you how magical it's. And I tell Gurudev about it all the time. Gurudev, guess what happened?
She works in my office, and she just comes so excited seeing amazing things through this new awareness that
Yeah.
you see
Yeah.
all around you.
Yeah. And just this week, we had an experience in our family where my stepdaughter has been diagnosed with cancer, and she's young, and she has a young child. And once I got over the shock of that, I could actually see this experience as beautiful. And it shows me that when we see things through the ego as, oh my God, this is terrible and bad. It is not terrible and bad. It's beautiful in that it is a wake-up call for everybody in the family. It allows us to see the beauty in the gifts that are given to us in so many ways, and this is a gift, whether it looked like it at first or not.
This is very difficult to understand for some of you. Like,
Yeah.
how is it the gift?
Mhm.
Because everybody is so deeply engaged in their habit patterns and compulsive behavior patterns. They have adjusted everything they do from morning till night is all framed in their patterns. And they will not change that until they get sick and get sickness or some kind of conflict comes up in their life and stress comes up. So I'm glad that body picks up eventually, that all the violations we do. So this is, you will learn how to treat your body as a temple. We have treated it like a abode of the devil. Body.
Right. And one more thing is, you were talking about prayers before, the difference between meditation and prayer. And we tend to ask for things in prayer. And for me, since I've been here, prayer has become like driving here today, directly in front of me near a pond was a mother crane with a little tiny chick. That's the prayer. And the prayer are the beautiful
It opens
sunsets.
your heart by
it
the
opens
beauty
your
in
heart.
nature.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the gratitude and just the compassion and everything. Those are the prayers, really. Thank you, Gurudev, for all your teachings.
When you have stress, you can't see a chick.
Yeah, really.
You just become you just become a chicken. When you are afraid, when you are dealing with so much stuff in the mind and emotions, do you see how insensitive you become to everyone and everything and every situation? You have no life. It's all about how to get back your ability to feel what is present. When you think what is not present, what is present is missed. That is why the things that happen through the mind are a darkness. So everything that comes through the mind comes from the dead memories. So when you live in the mind, you are living in the cemetery. Just that's all. The dead things you are replaying with reactive perceptions again and again. What do psychologists call that? 99% of your thoughts are repetitive. You say the same thing about the same thing. That's it. Your mind, notice how it speaks all the time. Aren't you tired yet? Bored? But mind just gets away by giving you false promises and you believe in it. So it cannot get you what it promises you in the future. That is called living in the dimension of time through the medium of mind. Yoga Nidra is how to purify the mind so you can use the mind and it is very alert, very active, focused, and very creative. And it becomes the direct medium of your higher self. Then your mind is your friend. But how to convert that mind? And in yogic scriptures that is explained, the way your mind is now is just dysfunctional. So through the practice of yoga, you can go beyond this level. It is called different koshas, different layers of consciousness. So they call it physical body, the grossest. Energy body, subtler. Mental body, subtler than physical and energy body. And there is a state called Vijnanmaya Kosh, where your mind is purified. And it becomes the powerful tool of consciousness. So, when Christ became enlightened, or Buddha became enlightened, for example, he taught 40 years after he was enlightened. Very rare. Obviously he had mind, he wasn't crazy, because mind was gone. So it is purification of mind. That is what you are learning. Your mind is okay. The content of mind is the problem. Do you understand the difference? Mind is already inborn gift of the divine. Otherwise you won't have it. You didn't create it, it was there, right? But contents you put into it. That is yours. What you think, how you think about people, places and things, and yourself becomes the content. Okay, anybody else? Here.
Well, I haven't thought of it till just this moment as we're talking, but the other day there was beautiful fog, and I was down by the lake. And I was sitting just feeling enveloped in the fog, and I could feel the silence and peace and God. And I thought, I've been feeling foggy-brained, and it really bothers me because I feel like I don't remember and I'm losing my mind. And then I thought, what if my foggy brain is really, I can feel the stillness and peace. And so
it was just an interpretation of the self-concepts.
Yeah.
Fear. So fear can take something nice and turn it into a problem.
So it made it feel okay to have the foggy brain.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And things you don't have very meaningful, you forget. So things that have a lot of meaning for you, you will not forget. Just let me give you an example. It's very meaningful for you to remember who hurt you. Try to forget. You have a good memory. You won't complain. So tell me how you have seen changes since you have been living here and practicing Yoga Nidra and Amrit Yoga.
I'm more foggy brain. No. There's more of a peace, really. There's more of a peace. Yeah. And
say a little more about it. That umbrella statement has a lot below it.
well, actually, I'm kind of having fewer words than I used to have, and maybe it's fewer story, or I don't know. I just, I'm at a loss for words, and I think it's because I had so many words before. It's shifting.
Mm. So basically what happens is people live more in their mind than in their body and heart. The more you live in your mind, less you feel, and life happens to you through the medium of feeling, not through the medium of thinking. Think of love and see what happens. Nothing. Feel love and you got it. So the most precious things, love, that you can feel. And more you live in the mind, your ability to feel and experience the beauty of the existence, the innocence of the existence, the purity of the birds, animals, your body, other people, everything disappears in your agitations of mind. You are no longer in your body because you are living so much in your mind, emotions, and future and past. Life happens in the present. Feeling happens in the present. Yes. Anybody else? Okay, let's finish then. This is a mantra chanting, and I want every one of you to try, okay, and enjoy the music of it also. This is mantra, and then it is Hari Hari Bol. Just follow me and you'll be able to do it. Hari Hari Bol, Hari Hari Bol. Mukunda Madhava Govinda Bol. Hari 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 Bol. Hari 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 Bol. Mukunda Madhava Govinda Bol. Mukunda Madhava. Mukunda Madhava Govinda Bol. Hari Hari Bol. Hari Hari Bol. Mukunda Madhava Govinda Bol. Mukunda. Everybody chant Om with me. Om. Continuous. Om. Keep your eyes closed. Focus your attention on spot between your eyebrows. And allow yourself to drop into complete stillness, tranquility, peace. Now gradually open your eyes. I see some of you don't want to open the eyes. It becomes that peaceful, that because the impact of mantra is so powerful. If you let yourself go more fully, it'll be more effective. Yes? Jai Bhagavan.